Welcome to Psych 501. This is just a brief little introductory video lecture to address maybe some of the questions you have about the course and also to address some of the basic information on the syllabus. So first off, questions that maybe have occurred to you or maybe some of your classmates. Is this course going to be hard? Yes, it is. Not because I'm particularly mean, sadistic, or evil, as maybe some people might claim, but simply it's going to be hard because it's different, qualitatively different from a lot of your other coursework. And most of your other coursework focuses, at least for those of you in the counseling preparation programs, focuses on counseling theory and application. For those in the experimental program, it should be right up your alley. But I know for most of you that's not the case, and so this will be different, and that's one reason it will be a difficult class. Does that mean I'm going to fail? I hope not. And in fact, it's hard to do if you do certain things. If you turn everything in by the deadline specified, and if you don't cheat or plagiarize, then it's pretty hard to fail this course. There's a lot of points built in where, if you turn this in, it's you did a good completion. So if you get all those points, you're probably not going to fail. Again, but you have to turn stuff in. On the other side of the spectrum, well, how can I get an A? Well, be lucky. One thing I hate to say, but that's part of it. But really, the things that you can do: read everything that's assigned, watch all the videos that are assigned, make outlines of the readings and the lectures and take notes. Be an active learner when you're consuming information. Test your own comprehension before taking any kind of quizzes or assessments. There's all kinds of practice tests in the book and even in the book's online materials. Right? So it's for one part of the course. And in terms of writing a proposal, which is a big chunk of the course, set aside time for writing a proposal. And be responsive to the feedback you get along the way. At each step, you'll be getting feedback from me and your peers about your project, and heed their advice. And again, like I said already, turn everything in on time. Don't get any late penalties, and you should have a good chance of earning an A. But do I really have to read everything and watch all the videos? No, you don't have to. I'm certainly not going to make you. I won't be taking attendance per se, but I can tell if you were watching the videos. I can go back, and I do sometimes in the semester, and it says, "Oh, I've watched all the videos, I've done all the reading, I don't know why I'm not getting it." And I can go back in Blackboard and look and say, "Well, you actually didn't watch everything." And some people watched a video 3 times, and you never watched it. So I won't be actively taking attendance. But if you ever are trying to appeal a grade or looking for some leniency or grace, I can tap into that evidence as needed. And again, the more that you read and watch and are an active consumer in this class, the better you're going to do. Well, how much time is this going to take? Well, it's a 3-hour-a-week course, right? So you can plan on 3 hours a week, typically, of watching videos and taking quizzes. And that doesn't count your reading time or other assignments, writing a proposal. And generally for college courses, you can typically figure on for every hour of credit, or for every hour you're in class, you expect to spend 2 hours outside of class doing work. So 3-hour class, another 6 hours outside of class. So about 9 hours a week for this class, and I'd say that's probably a fair estimate of the workload. Some weeks it'll be more, like when you're working on your proposal, especially the introduction section, you're reading lots of articles and doing research, trying to find stuff to beef up your introduction section, and which we'll also do into your discussion section, we'll talk about later. You may go over that 9 hours, but there'll be some weeks where you may get by with 3 to 5 hours spending on this class. But on average, I'd say expect at least 9 hours each week. Well, if I do all this, what am I going to get out of this? Well, I addressed this to some degree in the lecture video, Intro to Behavioral Science, which hopefully you'll be watching soon after this. I'm not going to repeat all that stuff here. But I will say that in general, whether or not you get anything at all out of this course is largely dependent on how motivated you are to learn. Not how motivated you are to pass or to get an A, or how motivated you are not to fail if you've got an avoidance goal. It's really how motivated you are to learn this stuff about how to conduct and evaluate research, which I think is hugely important. Even if you're not going to conduct research, if you're going to be a professional in our field, you need to know how to evaluate it. So hopefully you are motivated to learn that. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things in the syllabus. I'm not going to read it all to you, but just kind of go over a few things. The course objectives and student learning outcomes. Again, as I said, this course is about learning how to design and evaluate research. So as you can see in the syllabus, I want you to be a competent consumer of empirical literature. That means I want you to be able to read a journal article and know what it's saying and not have to rely on some other expert or authority to interpret it to you, because then you're getting it through their lens and they may be biased. Right? And also you'll learn how to design a study. For some of you in the experimental track, really important for you, and you can use this your proposal in this class actually as part of working toward your thesis, which is a good thing. And even if you're not doing that, maybe you're looking at grad school, the next step of a PhD program, you have to have some research to do that, so you have to know how to do it. And even if you're not going to be doing kind of research to publish, if you're going to be a mental health professional, in my opinion, I work from that kind of scientist practitioner model, you need to be critically evaluating your work and scientifically evaluating your work. So not just, I kind of feel like I'm doing well. Well, how can you systematically evaluate how you're doing? Well, the things you learn in this class should help you know better how to do that when you're in practice. And then also to be able to communicate your ideas in writing using professional language, in this case focusing a lot on APA style. The mode of instruction, obviously this is a fully online course. I will be on campus a lot, pretty much Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and probably most Tuesdays, rarely on Fridays. So if you happen to be in Killeen, you can come in my office hours or schedule some other time to come by and see me. Other than that, we're going to be interacting online, so a lot of email. I'll try to figure out how to get the Collaborate sessions set up for office hours, so you can chat. You can use a webcam if you want to meet with me. You can also call me on the office phone if you have questions. But it's important for me and for you to make that effort to kind of stay connected, because in online courses there's really a temptation to kind of drift off. Well, yeah, I know I have that course, but I'll take care of it later. You got to stay connected. You got to stay involved, especially with this course, because there are deadlines pretty much every week that if you get behind, it's hard to dig yourself out of the hole. In terms of required reading, it's the APA manual, and then also the Mitchell and Jolly text, which I used to tell people 7th or 8th edition, but now we've gotten far enough away from the 7th. I really would like you to have the 8th, and it has a couple of things that actually are better than the 7th edition in terms of appendices and extra materials that I think are helpful. So please get the latest edition. Contacting me, the messaging email thing in Blackboard actually works pretty well now. They fixed a bug where now it actually shows me, alerts me whenever you email me. Before it didn't. You can also email me at my TAMUCT account, but I get a lot of traffic in that account, so I may not get back to you right away with that one. Like I said, if you want to give me a call at the office or swing by anytime, open door policy. In terms of participation, although this is an online class, it's not one of those ones where you can kind of wait till the end of the semester and just knock it all out. Like I said, there are deadlines every week, and there are some activities that are going to require you to do to interact with your peers online, posting things in discussion boards, replying to people's things, and they'll be waiting for you to post stuff to reply to. So for your sake and for theirs, you've got to stay with it and be working on stuff every week, being an active participant. Okay. In terms of technology stuff, I know Blackboard can sometimes be quirky. Put it mildly, sometimes be a pain. It works best for me using Chrome. I think that's currently the recommended browser for this version of Blackboard. If something else is more comfortable for you, I don't care, as long as you can get it to work. And I'd say make sure everything works at the beginning of the semester. And if you're having problems getting stuff to work, document your efforts to get it fixed. So if you're sending emails to tech support, hang on to those. I had a student that in another online class that didn't do anything for the first month. I was like, "Are you in this class?" And never replied. Finally, they said, "Oh yeah, I couldn't get into Blackboard." Hey, why didn't you email me at the regular email? Give me a call at the office? Anything? Well, I just didn't know. Okay, well, hey, just send me the emails you sent to tech support. Let me know who you talked to. I don't have that. Oh, that's a problem. Right? So, again, if you're going to have problems, try to have them early and document your efforts to fix those so that it doesn't cost you in terms of late points for missed assignments and whatnot if technological difficulties interfere with that. And do make use of all the tech support that we, or actually you and your student fees, are paying for. So all the numbers and chats that are listed in the syllabus and online, make use of those. Academic integrity, super important, especially for this class. A lot of what we'll focus on related to academic integrity is on a plagiarism and appropriate citation. And we'll talk a lot about it in lectures and quizzes. But also, because this is an online course, there may be other temptations to veer away from honesty, right? Having someone else do your work, for example, sharing answers from different exercises or quizzes. I just really think, in addition to that being damaging to the academy at large, like bad for education, I think it's bad for individuals at a very personal level to bend those rules and venture into kind of gray or black areas of ethics. Well, I really need this, and I know it's wrong, but I need you. I'm just going to do this once. Once you do it once, you're more likely to do it twice, and then you may be setting off down a bad path. So dishonesty, I think, is a corrupting thing that can spread. So please don't do it. You have my faith. Please live up to that. Support services. If you have a disability, make sure that a documented learning disability or learning difference, make sure that you get the appropriate documentation from the disability support coordinator. And this part people usually forget, make sure you contact me to discuss what accommodations can be made. Because the disability support coordinator typically sends me a letter saying, oh, they may need some accommodations that may include these types of things. But they don't mandate to any professor what has to be done. So the student and professor need to talk about that and come to some agreement at the beginning of the semester about what kind of accommodations, in terms of if more time on assignments, or if having someone else take notes for you, those types of things are allowable. In terms of grading, there'll be rubrics for most assignments. All the stuff on the proposal assignments will have rubrics where it'll be clear to you how your work will be evaluated. Be sure to look at these before you start an assignment, not afterward, to make sure you did it right. The late work policy, it's a 10% penalty per day after the due date, with a max of 30%. So after 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, it's all 30% off. But no late work will be accepted once it's beyond that 7 days. So turn it in, turn it in, turn it in. Best turn it in on time. Turn it in early. If you don't, within a week you need to have stuff in. And that's partly to encourage you to have good time management skills, but also a lot of that for this class is because we do one thing and then the next thing builds on the previous assignment. And if you aren't turning it on time or don't turn it in at all, okay, now the next step isn't going to work. Right? You're going to be missing something. So turn stuff in, turn it in on time. And with the quizzes, there won't be a late penalty on those. There are due dates for them, and if you do it a day later, no penalty. 2 days later, no problem. But once it gets to 7 days, the quiz will disappear, and you won't be able to take it. So I recommend you do it on or before the due date, but definitely within a week of the due date. Otherwise, you won't be able to take it. The course calendar is at the end of your syllabus. It makes sense the way it's laid out to me. Hopefully it makes sense to you as well. Look over it. I do a lot of, when I'm creating these calendars, I do a lot of cutting and pasting from cell to cell. So sometimes I get a date copied and pasted from one cell to another and it gets off. So if you find any errors, also let me know and I can send out a corrected syllabus to the class. Okay. Stuff that you're probably more worried about. What you're going to be graded on. We'll have a whole series of learning activities. Pretty much every week there'll be a little learning activity. Some of these will involve posting things to a discussion board. Frequently involve a short little quiz type thing with a couple of questions that are going to require you to apply some of the knowledge from the reading and lecture videos that preceded that learning activity. But I don't expect those to be anything, they weren't designed to be super hard or challenging in terms of, oh yeah, you're going to fail. They're designed to make you think and explore. So take them seriously, but don't sweat too much on those things. The proposal assignments, there's a whole series of them, right? We're building up to this one research proposal, again, where you're not going to go out and collect data. You're just going to write a proposal. Here's a research question. Here's some information about it. Here's how I would do this study. Here's how I would analyze the data. Here's some limitations to my study. And if I found anything interesting, here's how I would apply it. Right? So that's what you're going to do at the end. And so just telling you, okay, write a proposal assignment, and then teaching you the pieces and saying, okay, turn it all in at the end, historically it hasn't worked out well. So I've broken it down into steps where at each stage there's going to be, okay, here's the first part, do this. And then you're going to actually post it on our discussion board, get feedback from me and one or more of your peers. Right? And then the next step, get feedback, next step, get feedback, next step, get feedback. And then at the end, by the time you get to the end of the semester, you're just going to have all these things you're just going to squish together. All right, here's my first piece, I improved on it, drop it into the document. Here's the second piece, improved on it, drop it in the document, and now you got the whole thing. And you're not going to be trying to write some huge paper all at once. You're going to be doing it in bits and pieces. And most people, even though they complain about it on the front end, oh, it's a lot of assignments, at the end of the semester, typically they're grateful for having that breakdown. Hopefully you'll have that same experience. The quizzes, which are typically over the readings in your textbook and the video lectures. Excuse me. And if you say, well, gee, what's that quiz going to cover? If you look at the course calendar, the readings and videos that precede a quiz on the calendar are the things that are going to be covered on that quiz. Should be pretty straightforward. You also have a couple of APA exercises or quizzes. A word of warning about those: they are very detail oriented. So you're looking at 4 sentences, you're trying to pick which one is formatted correctly, and it's a matter of, okay, 1 comma is missing here in this sentence, so not that one. Oh, in this one there's not verb subject gender agreement, and over here, oh, this one they had a comma, but it should have been a semicolon. Oh, but this one's right. Right? Then I'm just going to tell you right now, people say, oh, that's so nitpicky. Yeah, APA style is very nitpicky. It's a pain. It is what it is. So you've got a couple of those. There's lecture videos to help you prepare for those exercises. If you're comfortable with the APA style, you know what? I've written a lot of papers. I've got a lot of feedback. I think I know the manual pretty well. I know the rules. I'm good. Okay, great. So what I'm adding this semester is an optional APA mega quiz at the beginning of the semester, where you say, oh, you know, I think I'm good. I don't really want to do those exercises. You can take this one APA quiz that will test over all that stuff. And if you get 90% or better on that mega quiz, I'll take your average for that one thing and apply it to all the other AP exercises, and you don't have to do them, which would free up some time for you at the end of the semester, because that's when those things are going to show up on the calendar, course calendar. You don't have to take the APA mega quiz. Everybody might as well, but if you score less than 90%, well, you should go to the exercises. If you score, maybe you score 91%, you're like, oh, well, I could not do those things, but I think I could do better taking those exercises. Okay, that's fine. You can still do those exercises if you'd like to. I'm not going to prevent you from doing that. This is just a way for some people that don't need that tutelage on APA style to kind of test out. Right? Okay, there'll also be a little plagiarism test. Again, I already talked earlier when we were talking about academic integrity. Very important to know how to cite appropriately and completely. And so I've got a lecture video about plagiarism and then a quiz that follows up that so I can know, once you've taken that plagiarism test, okay, I know you know what it is because you answered these questions correctly. Then I definitely shouldn't see it at all in your paper. And if I do, it's not out of ignorance. It's because you were trying to pull a fast one. Right? The final exam in the semester, it's going to be on Friday, I think. Look at the calendar. It'll be available all one day. 3 hours to take it once you start. It'll be a bunch of multiple choice questions that are largely similar to the quizzes you've had, not the APA quizzes, just the ones over the readings and the lectures, and then 2 essays at the end, which I can talk more about later. I can post another video preparing for the final, but I can tell you right now, they're the same all the time. I change them a little bit, but it's the same idea where I'm going to either, one of them is going to be, I tell you about a study somebody did, and I'm going to ask you to evaluate it in terms of internal validity, external validity, construct validity, and power. The second one is going to be the same type of thing, but instead of telling you about a study for you to evaluate, I'm going to say, here's a research question, tell me how you do a study, and tell me how each of your choices when designing a study will impact internal validity, external validity, construct validity, and power. So those are the 2 essays worth, 30% or so of your final exam. I'm telling you right now. If you ever want to take me for comps, it'll be one of those questions as well. In terms of extra credit, there will be some extra credit opportunities that'll pop up over the course of the semester related to participating in research. And this can be participating simply as a research subject, research participant. A lot of times our grad students or faculty will be doing studies and needing people to complete surveys or be involved in some experiment. And if you go and do that and provide evidence of it, often that can earn you extra credit. Whenever those opportunities present themselves, we can talk about how much time doing those studies will count for how many points. But also, if you get yourself involved in a research team working on some research project, that can count for extra credit if something tangible comes of that. I'm not sure when Dr. Yeager's research team is going to meet this semester, but they meet regularly and it's open to anybody that wants to come, and you can pretty much go and jump in on someone's project and help out in terms of collecting data. And it's a great way to get experience, and depending on how much you do, you might even earn yourself authorship on a paper or presentation, which again, if you're ever looking at a PhD program, really good to have that type of thing on your vita. Okay. Excuse me, I already talked at the front end a little bit how not to fail and how to get an A. But again, just going back over the keys to success in this course. Don't get behind. Right? Again, it's tempting in an online course to say, oh yeah, I know that's kind of out there, but you're not seeing me and your classmates face to face every week. There's not that kind of physical reminder that this stuff is due, so it can slip your mind. But I'm telling you, it's really hard to dig yourself out of a hole in this course, because there's a lot of assignments, and it can pile up. Along those lines, if something comes up that interferes with your ability to complete your coursework, a hospitalization, kids get sick, your computer bursts into flames, contact me as soon as possible. Leave me a voicemail at the office if I'm not there. Email me if your computer's not on fire. Just kind of give me that heads up, because it's a lot harder for me to do anything for you if you just disappear for a month, and then at the end of the semester you're like, oh hey, yeah, sorry, some stuff happened. Can I do all my work right now? Really hard for me to justify allowing you to do that. But I do understand things happen. Just keep me in the loop, and we'll figure out how to make you successful. Or we may figure out, okay, well, given what's going on, you need to drop the course and take it again next semester. That's another thing. But we can figure that out together. I don't expect you to necessarily do that all on your own, because I can give you some pretty good advice, I think, about the likelihood of succeeding given where you are in the semester and how much you have done. Okay. So again, along those same lines, turn in everything. It's like, oh, I missed the deadline, it's going to be 30% off. It's 6 days late. I don't turn it in now. Get some credit. Some credit is, you only have half of it done. Great, turn it in. Turn it in. Get some points, better than a 0. Getting some feedback is much more helpful than getting no feedback. Cite your sources appropriately when writing your paper and doing your proposal assignments. And I'm not going to really ding you hard on this as you're working on your drafts. Right? I'll give you feedback if I see it. But really, it's at that end when you turn it in, and you're going to turn it into turnitin.com too. It needs to be cited appropriately. So giving credit where credit is due. If you have the exact words from an author, those appearing in quotation marks, right? All those things, because not doing so will cost you points, and depending on the level of inappropriate citation, may also cause you some trouble with the university in terms of having to deal with student affairs and violation of the student code of conduct. Most importantly, I guess would be last here, figure out the context of this information, of this course, for you. Because the information in this course really has wide-ranging applicability. People going into a variety of different fields, doing different things with their lives. There's something in here for everybody, potentially. But you've got to figure out for yourself why this matters to you. If you don't, it'll be a long, tedious slog through a pile of work. But if you figure out, okay, I get why I need to know this. I get where I could make use of this. Okay, it's going to be a lot more exciting for you and a lot easier to get the work done. Okay, just last two things. Let me know what questions you have. Email, call me, come by the office, and good luck. And I do hope that this class has an impact on how you think and how you see the world.